Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you today to Kidventure's latest in our series of live stream events. My name is Mike McDonald. I'm the president of Kidventure Camps, and it's always great to be here and share our camp information with you through this platform. We are supposed to be streaming through Facebook, our main page, YouTube channel, and our family group Facebook page. We're having some technical difficulties with the Facebook page. This happened last time too, and there seems to be a problem with that interface between the main Facebook page and our platform that we use for these live streams. So we're posting in Facebook right now, redirecting you over to the YouTube channel, the Kidventure Camp YouTube channel, or the Facebook group page, which is our Kidventure Families group page, which, by the way, if you're not a part of that group, it's a very different Facebook group. A lot of feedback from parents and staff on that one. We throw out suggestions and ideas and comments, and parents give feedback on there. Less on giving you dates and things like that about registration, and more about content feedback from our parents, which I love and I value tremendously. So there's that. This will be recorded, of course. So if you're not here, or you have a friend that wants to watch it afterwards, we're going to leave it posted. We'll put it up on Facebook then, but we'll put it up on our YouTube channel, and we'll eventually get it up on the website too as well. So plenty of places for you to enjoy that. But without further ado, I would like to invite a special guest we have with us today, the very talented Miss Cheyenne Quiggle. Quiggle, how are you doing, Cheyenne?
Doing great. How are you guys doing? Excited to be present with all of you today.
It's amazing having you here. And I don't know if you've been on one of our live streams yet,
Nope,
but
first timer.
so I'm going to just say this about Cheyenne. Cheyenne has been with Kidventure for several years now, counselor, director, manager. She is now a full-time employee with Kidventure. She is one of our camps coordinators up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And like you could hook up Cheyenne to like a power station and run a city on her. That's how much energy she brings to Kidventure. And we're so happy to have her with us on a full-time basis now. And she's been such a big part of impacting the lives of so many kids, particularly up in Dallas, and has a wealth of information to bring to us when it comes to Explorers and every other program too as well. So I'm excited about having you here, Cheyenne, and we'll bring us both in together too. And oh, by the way, I'd like to share some news with everyone, if you don't mind, Cheyenne. So
Not at all.
Cheyenne and her husband are brand new parents, and you're going to die. Everybody's going to just die when they see this picture, by the way. So here she is. This is Piper. You want to tell us a little bit about Piper, Cheyenne?
Yeah, so Piper is our daughter. She came to us through adoption. She is going to be 8 weeks old on Saturday. She's growing tremendously. She's already almost 10 pounds. We're so in love with her. We call her Piper Piglet. So she's our pride and joy.
Oh my gosh, it's like an Ann Getz or something like that. That's an amazing picture, by the way. I have one more too. I got to share. I'm sorry. There we go.
Oh,
There's Piper in
she's
bed.
so cute.
So is that like
Yep,
totally changed your life now?
totally changed my life. We've served children through foster care over the last 2 years, so we're super excited to be able to serve in a different space of adoption and continue to just, kids is my forte. I love serving kids. It's what I do. So it's changed our life in every way for the better.
Well, congratulations once again. I know everybody's really super excited for you guys, and we can't wait for Piper to grow up and go to camp at Kidventure.
hmm Future KV camper in the making.
Future KV camper in the making. All right, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, and that's specifically the Explorers. Um, the Explorers are our largest summer camp program, right? That's just going to be those kids entering first grade through fifth grade. School age kids, essentially elementary school age kids. They affectionately like to call themselves the red shirts because they wear their camp shirt is the red shirt. So today we're going to just really dial in with just Explorers. Okay. We'll start out with a video so you get some visuals and really kind of also a good understanding of our philosophy, our fundamentals, because everything that we do at Kidventure is driven sort of by our philosophy, that foundation, those characters, that values that we pay so much attention to and take so much pride in. We'll talk about the Explorer basics. What does it mean to be Explorer? What does that look like from a time standpoint and the weekly standpoint? We'll touch on that philosophy and goals, let you have a really good understanding of what we're all about and what we're trying to aim to do with those kiddos in the Explorer group. We'll highlight what a camp day looks like, generally speaking, from kind of 30,000 feet, and then we'll dive into curriculum. What is it our explorers are doing at camp once they get there and before they leave at the end of the day? A little bit on coming to camp. What does it mean to come to camp, and how do you come to camp successfully and make the most of that camp experience? And then we will turn our attention to one of the most important parts of your child's camp experience, and that's our team, right? I mean, our curriculum is amazing. We do amazing things at camp, the activities and our purpose. But really, at the end of the day, it's about the camp team, the quality of that team that brings that camp to life. If you ask your kid and after the summer's over what they remember about camp the most, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you the name of their counselor, and not the Gaga game or the field trip to the museum or whatever. It's going to be that camp counselor, right? That's the most important thing. And our kids, what they really want the most out of camp is connection. They want to connect with other friends. They want to connect with our camp staff. They want to be part of something special and walk away from camp feeling great about themselves. And that begins and ends with that team. And finally, we'll have a Q&A portion of the live stream. We always do this. It's a great opportunity for you to ask those questions. So what I urge you to do is, as you think about questions and we move along through the presentation, put those questions in the comments section, please. They will feed to us, and then we'll drop those in during the Q&A, and hopefully you'll leave today feeling a lot more informed about the Explore program. All right, did I miss anything there?
Nope, I think you covered it.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Here we go. We're going to start out with a video. We'll drop away. The video will come up, and we'll take it from there.
Kidventure has been helping shape the lives of kids through the power of camp.
And provide each kid a safe, caring environment where they can grow happy and strong. Respect. Friendship. Kindness.
One of our most important goals is to teach a child that nothing in life is impossible. Courage. Confidence. Leadership.
The real power of camp isn't what takes place at camp. It's what kids take away from camp that matters. Honesty. Gratitude. Grit. And imagination. This is what we teach at Kidventure.
We invite you to be part of Kidventure's 30th year of summer camp.
Spaces are limited, so register today.
All right. There you go.
Doesn't that just get you guys so excited for summer?
Man, every time I see that thing, I get pretty pumped up, and I've only seen that thing maybe like 1,000 times now. But yeah, it's exciting, and I think it's always good for people to see camp. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I love that video. All right, let's talk about the basics here. Actually, why don't you take the basics? Let's tell us what we're going to be talking about today.
For sure. So our Explorers, like you said, it's that elementary school age group, and we have a variety of activities that all of our programs get to experience. But something specifically that our Explorers get to experience is a full camp day full of activities that appeal to their age group. We really try to build in as much as we can to support that developmental age, your program is going to look like 8 to 3. That school age group, we have a small ratio, which is really important. It allows our campers to have that one-on-one relationship with their counselors. They're not in one of a group of 50, 60 kiddos. They know their counselor by name, and their counselor knows them by name, which is really great for the emotional well-being of those campers, to feel trust and to feel safe coming into camp. In addition to that, those smaller groups are going to let them make friends. It's going to allow them to, maybe meet a new friend or expand on a relationship they previously had made a different week or a different summer. Like I mentioned, age appropriate and scaled. We're really trying to appeal to that developmental age, but also the interests of those campers. An additional thing that is awesome is we have the same counselors week to week. So our sites are staffed so that we have familiar faces and we have friendly faces. Now, when we combine with other groups, we're still going to have that familiarity. We're still going to have campers that join other groups throughout the camp day. Again, it's that making friends, it's that growing their community so that they feel safe and welcomed into camp, so they have the best experience possible.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize. Let's go back to that ratio here. I don't know how much parents are familiar with summer camp programs, but a 1 to 10 ratio for a summer day camp is very low. Most programs are around that 1 to 20 ratio. And I'm not knocking the 1 to 20 ratio. I just think that we have a better opportunity, first and foremost, from a safety standpoint, and second, from a relational standpoint, to connect kids and provide for a safer, more rewarding experience when we have those smaller ratios. And even for our younger kids, like our Discoverers, that ratio is even 1 to 6. Never do we go over the 1 to 10 ratio. Now, we will combine two groups together, two counselors, two groups of 10, where we are playing athletics, for example, and where the age groups are the same or similar ages together and where it's age appropriate. But that 1 to 10 ratio is a huge factor in helping provide for the quality program from a safety standpoint and a social relational standpoint. And I think that's just really important to note. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think is really important to note is our philosophy and sort of our goals. And I think if you watch that video, you saw a lot of words come up like honesty and grit and compassion and leadership. These are all tenets I think that as parents we all want our kids to have, right, and to understand and to be a part of their life. But it just doesn't happen by happenstance, right? You have to be able to teach somebody about grit. You have to be able to teach somebody about empathy and confidence. And you have to put them in situations where they can learn that and they can experience that and they get feedback on that. And I just don't think there's a better platform or a better opportunity than summer camp with which to teach those character traits, right? You can have a kid that's a straight A student and does scores perfect on the SAT. If they don't have a strong foundation of character, know how to socialize with other people, know how to connect with other people, have confidence and stand up in a room and speak, then you're not going to have a child that's as successful as they possibly could be, right? And I just think we learn that when we're young. Much harder to learn that when we're 30 and 40 years old, right? And so our goals and our philosophy are pretty darn clear when it comes to those types of things, okay? And I want to talk a little bit about that. First and foremost, the number one goal at summer camp is to provide a safe, comfortable environment. And I'm not just talking about physically safe, right? Yes, we're very choosy about our day camp facilities. They have to be the kind of facility from a structural standpoint and a safety standpoint where we feel very comfortable running summer camp. But it also needs to be socially and mentally a very comfortable place for their child too as well. Creating that environment where a kid feels safe, comfortable, allows us a starting point with which to do all the things that we want to do in camp, okay? Number two, we're very purposeful and intentional. What I mean by that is we don't show up on Monday morning with a bag of balls and some crayons and say, let's have camp. We spend about 9 months out of the year designing every activity that takes place every week during the summer with the intent of that activity providing an outcome. Okay, those outcomes are the things that we talked about in that video, right? Confidence, leadership, empathy, compassion, grit, whatever it is. Everything that we do at Kidventure is intentional and purposeful, all right? And that leads me to the outcomes, right? What's most important for Cheyenne and me and the rest of the staff isn't necessarily how much fun your kid is having in the moment playing archery or climbing a rock climbing wall or getting their hands completely messy with paint and creating the next work of art, right? what's really important is that child leaving camp at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the summer, feeling more confident about themselves, having a greater sense of self-esteem, feeling like they can take on the world, like nothing is impossible. That is what camp is all about, and that is what we're trying to get done. That's what we mean when we talk about outcomes. Okay, those things don't happen unless you start with your counselors and your team, right? So teaching and modeling first and foremost from our staff is the basis for trying to create those outcomes, right? If my staff can't show your child how to be confident, how to be kind, how to be caring, how to be empathetic, how to be civil, then how can we expect our kids to learn that, right? So it really begins and ends with our staff when it comes to that. And lastly, and I don't have to tell you this, camp's supposed to be fun and active, right? Kidventure Camp is very unique. When we started camp in 1994, 30 years ago, we saw there were day camps out there, but they tended to be very daycare in their approach and philosophy. We really were drawn to that overnight camp program vibe, if you will, right? This sense of independence, this sense of spirit, this loudness. And we wanted to take that overnight camp vibe, that experience, and drop it into a day camp setting. The only difference is you have to go home at the end of the day. You cannot leave them with us, right? And so it's like overnight camp in a day camp setting, if you want to think about it that way. So it's very loud, very, very fun, very energetic, very spirited. And you get a bunch of Cheyenne Quiggles in one room with a bunch of kids, and the roof comes off pretty much the building. So there you go.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, I'll let you explain this last one. I think I have it on here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Let me just drop that off and drop that off. This is kind of our symbol for this year and really for 30 years, and kind of explain that to parents if you would.
Absolutely. So this is symbolizing the growth that we aspire to help our kiddos grow to become their fullest potential throughout their time with us at Kidventure, right? And a lot of the times you'll hear in the education space, the camp space, planting these seeds in kiddos, right? That's our hope and goal, is to be able to plant these seeds of friendship and respect, confidence, so that these kiddos can take those things they've learned with us here at Kidventure and use those skills throughout their life. They can continue to grow and flourish and to be the best version of themselves, to the best camper, friend, son, daughter, and however in whichever season of life that they are in. It's very important to us that we have this symbolism to represent growth, right? There are lots of us as adults, campers, that are still kind of figuring out who they are. And we really want to support that environment for these campers. We want to support the environment that they can develop and grow new skills, they can improve and enhance old skills, and they can do that alongside this branch and this structure of support and stability within Kidventure, which I think is really our design behind this graphic, is taking it into summer 2024, our 30th summer, and just all that we've been able to do and grow over the last 30 years.
I don't think I could have said it better than that. Thanks very much. Appreciate
Right.
that. All right, so let's turn our attention to a camp day. What does a camp day look like? Kind of from 30,000 feet. I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds right here, but essentially, and this varies from site to site with regards to drop off, depending how big the site is or how much time we need to drop off. But essentially, drop off. Let's say it's about 7:45 to 8 o'clock, something like that. That's all curbside drop off. So you will pull up. We will escort your child from the car into camp. We'll reverse that at the end of the day. So very convenient for parents. At the beginning of the summer, it goes slower. As we move through the summer, it gets faster and more efficient. Once all the kids get in there, it's time for opening ceremonies. We'll call that 8:30. Okay. Opening ceremonies is like a big giant pep rally. Everybody is in one big space together. There's a lot of music. It's loud. Counselors, directors are on stage. We're breaking the ice. We're doing energizers. The kids are up, they're moving, they're doing songs. We have tons of these Kidventure songs that the kids all know. And if they don't, they're going to learn them. And then they're going to sing them in the car in nauseum to you for days and days and days.
And then you're going to know them.
And then you're going to know. Then you're going to know. It's also a great time to set expectations, right? We like to talk about what is going to take place that day. Kids want to know and have some idea of what's coming down the pipe, right? We might do some skits. to reinforce our rules, which are the 3 R's: respect yourself, respect others, and respect your surroundings. That's it. Those are only 3 rules of camp. Now the kids will say there's a 4th rule, and that's to have fun. That's kind of the unofficial official rule. Once opening ceremonies are done, we break out into those small groups. On Mondays, that's probably a little bit more important because they get to meet their group for the first time, that group of 10 and their counselor. They spend a little bit of time together getting to know each other, maybe get to know you games. Maybe they learn a secret handshake that's only theirs. They share some stories. We start the process of bonding that group of 10 together, okay? And then we're off to rotations, right? So everybody's rotating. Some might be outside doing athletics and games, some might be at art and science, some might be at team building, whatever that might be. So you have this sort of set of morning rotations, okay? Then everyone comes back together for lunch, okay? We pretty much all eat together at lunch. It's a big time. Counselors eat with the kids. We're helping kids open their stuff up. We're making sure we're monitoring that kids are eating their food and not just sitting there talking. We're making sure that they're eating their own food and not somebody else's food. All those things like that. After lunch, we clean up. We have a midday rally. Think of it sort of like as another pep rally, like in the morning, but like a mini one to get their blood going and get ready to go, get motivated for the afternoon time. That chill time you see right there, they don't do that. So that's just our discoverers that do the chill time. So we have afternoon rotations. Then at the end of the day, let's call it 2:30, we're bringing everybody back in for closing ceremonies, okay? Once again, a lot of music, energizers, but we're debriefing our day. We're talking about what we did, you know. We are going over the highs and lows of the day. We're checking in with our kids, making sure that they're good. And then it's time for departure. So at 3 o'clock, carpool line queues up. Our kids that we know are going home will line up, and we have a system for checking them back into your car. And then the rest of the kids are going into post camp. Post camp is from 3 to 6. Post camp is an optional part of the day. I would say, I don't know, Cheyenne, 50% of the kids probably use post camp. That tends to grow because kids want to stick around at camp longer, you know.
Yep. I don't want to
And
go home.
I don't want to go home. That's what we like, right? But that's kind of the day. That gives you a sense. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday was going to be a little bit different because we typically have a carnival day, a big party every Friday. So towards the end of the day, that rotation schedule is going to change, and we're going to sort of transition to the more of a carnival party dance kind of like mode, you know, and get the DJ going and have a good time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
to just piggyback on that, Mike, something that I think going back to what we discussed on the last slide is that we're super intentional with the way that we run and facilitate these rotations, even how we leave and enter rotations. We really try to make our kiddos feel like camp is camp. We're not walking in straight silent lines. We're making noise. We're playing games. We're going through these rotations and we're going through these conversations with intention, which I think just sets us apart and really enhances that experience for your camper.
yeah, great point. Great point. All right. Let's move on and we'll dive into the weeds a little bit more. We'll talk about curriculum and actually what they're doing. Okay. Why don't you take this one, and then I'll move to some images too after you go over these. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is actually in education. I was a teacher for several years and felt my heart was really pulling into the camp space. This community is just one that I could not pass up. So with that knowledge of education, we really designed our curriculum to be, like we've mentioned previously, purposeful activities that the kids are interested in and engaged in. So we do things like dodgeball, kickball. But in addition to dodgeball and kickball, we come up with new games. Camps have game creation. They can use their creativity to make games that are fun for them. We also have art and science. So something really cool to our Explorer program is the addition of a curriculum activity called Curriculum Plus. That's a more in-depth activity that kids are going to get to build on daily. And I think the importance behind that is it allows them that opportunity to reflect. So I've created this product. How can I make this product better? How can I continue to challenge myself to think outside of the box to produce something that maybe I never would have thought of, or utilizing collaboration amongst their peers to design a product they're proud of. The explorers also get to go on an off-site field trip, which is really awesome and unique because a lot of our kiddos haven't had these opportunities or experiences before. We use really nice chartered buses to transport our kiddos. to and from these facilities, things like water parks and museums and experiences that these kids get to play and explore. Another addition to our Explorer program is archery tag. So archery tag is really awesome because it's exactly what it sounds like. We're using these soft foamed um, ends to an arrow that kiddos get to use for target practice, skill enhancement, and tag, which is super fun. And don't worry, parents, they do not hurt, and kiddos are safe while going through that activity. But of course, like we want to appeal to the interests of the campers, we will always adjust and pivot to ensure that campers are having a quality experience and having a great time. Depending on your facility, your site, your camp, and your city, we have water opportunities for our kiddos. We know that Texas, it is hot. So that might mean that you have your water balloon fights or your water squirters that you get to run through a sprinkler, play water kickball, go on field trips to water parks. Now that will vary from site to site depending on your site's availability, space, and we still try to ensure each camper has some type of an experience in that field. Special events and parties. This is something super exciting. We want to appeal to our kiddos. That might mean that your director on site plans a glow in the dark party for your kids. Or maybe we have a picnic lunch outside, popsicles on Friday, whatever that looks like to give your campers just that extra level of attention, that extra level of excitement for them to get through their camp week. Rock wall, it's self-explanatory. Our kids get the opportunity to climb a rock wall. It's about 20 feet tall. It's super fun and exciting. And for a lot of our kiddos, this is an area of growth for them. Maybe they only make it 2 feet up the wall, which grows to 10, which grows to 20. And when they finally get to hit that buzzer, they're so proud of themselves while also having a great time while doing so. And then lastly, team building, which I think is super, super important, is the ability to work as a team to accomplish a goal as a group. So some of those things include what we call islands, where kiddos have the challenge of getting from one to the next with these difficult tasks that they have to do along the way that requires them to work as a team. And they wouldn't be able to accomplish the goal if they tried to do it independently. And all of these things, like we've mentioned, it's done with purpose, it's done with intention. And we spent 9 months building this so that if your campers are returning to us year after year, they're getting a new experience, like if every day was the first day of camp.
Great job, by the way. Thank you very much. Let's
Thanks.
look at some of those pictures. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
I know we have some of these here that we can turn on.
Mhm.
Opening ceremony, like you mentioned before, a huge time. We might, put war paint on or whatever it might be. There's pictures of rock climbing, the rock climbing walls that we bring out. Super popular. I don't have to tell you why those are so popular, but the kids love it. Athletics and camp games. I mean, you name it, we play it. We also bring a lot of new camps. I mean, we were the first ones to bring Gaga to Texas, and we all know that Gaga is a big part of what's taking place in schools now. Archery tag. I think we were the first ones to bring archery tag to Texas many, many years ago. Exploration. I mean, we schedule a lot of structured activities, but we also schedule times for kids to choose what they want to do as well. I think in our society, we have a tendency to overschedule our kids and not give them the opportunity to choose independently minded opportunities. So important for decision-making problem, for the decision-making process, so important for risk reward. There's a lot of things that are valuable when we give our kids a chance just to have free play, right? The opportunity to explore their world. It might be that we might put down a variety of different apparatus and tell the kids, okay, it's your turn to create a game. Y'all get together and you need to come up with a game in the next 15 minutes, and then I want you to learn that game and teach that game to the next group. That's powerful. And it gives them the chance to take ownership of their activity. Let's see. I think I got more in here. Camp awards. We're real big about camp awards. On Fridays, we're awarding a ribbon to every kid in camp. Everybody does something during the week that needs to be noted and needs to be noted in front of their peers. We also give Camper of the Week awards and other awards like that. It's a big part of what we do. Cheyenne mentioned team building. We build in team building every week. We think it's important to teach our kids to learn how to trust, to cooperate, to problem solve, to communicate effectively. If our kids don't learn that now, they don't learn that when they're 35, right? And they love it. It's a big part of our curriculum.
Mhm.
Art and science, we mentioned that before. That varies from like individual projects to collaborative projects to projects that extend throughout the week. And then field trips, a big part of our camp program once a week, typically Wednesdays, Thursdays, it could be other days. We're gone from the site. We travel on buses that have seat belts. We select locations that we believe provide not only kids a lot of value, but also are safe. We do that within the time frame of camp, so you don't have to show up at camp early. You don't have to pick up late. You just don't want to be late and have that kid really upset because the bus is already taken off. So we communicate all that to you and let you know when those things are taking place. Cheyenne mentioned again water days. Some campsites have pools embedded. Where we have that, we have a swim program. Where we have a swim program, we have a very detailed program that swim tests all of our kids on Mondays. We know all of our kids. Lifeguards are dedicated to our kids at all times. A lot of our sites don't have swimming pools. So you'll need to look online to see if your campsite has a pool. If you have questions about that swim program, you'll just need to call us up. Feel free to call or email us, and we're happy to spend time talking to you about that as well. And then I'll end with this. Everything we do is character based. Kids want to come to camp and they want to create friendships and foster relationships with other people. Learning how to have good, strong character and values in that process is super important to maintaining that and flourishing that in the future. So there is that. All right. So let's turn our attention a little bit to coming to camp. I think I mentioned this earlier. When you come to any Kidventure day camp, you're going to be greeted by our staff outdoors. You're not going to pull up and look around and wonder where we are. We're all in uniform. We all have name badges on. We're highly identifiable. We're going to be waving. We're going to be the loudest people in the parking lot. We're going to have a smile on our face. And our job is to welcome you to camp, not just your child, but you. Okay. And I will tell you that Mondays tend to move a little slower. Why do they move a little slower? Because it's the first time that we're seeing you. We want to make sure that we have all of your data, your information, your emergency information, and we want to move you into camp as efficiently and quickly as possible, but we want to do it safely too as well. So dropping off Tuesday through Friday, things go like super fast, okay? So we'll escort your child from the car into the camp program. We'll wave goodbye to you, okay? We ask that we call it compassionate departure, right? If you have that child that just needs 10,000 hugs before they go, totally fine. Well, let's get that done at the car, and then let's move them into camp. Some kids have a hard time separating. We get that. We've spent 30 years working with parents and kids with regards to that separation anxiety, and we're really, really good and really good compassionate about that. We just ask that you sort of do your part in that one as well. On Mondays, we'll ensure that any meds are handed to the staff with medical dosage form. Any medications that are taken for camp have to be turned in with our official medical dosage form in their original container. The director of the camp program will administer those medications and log that per your instructions on that medical dosage form. If you have questions about that, feel free to call us, email us. That form can also be found in your registration confirmation packet and on the website as well. All right, so there's that. I think I have what to wear and pack. Cheyenne, you want to illuminate that for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So we ask that families send their kiddos in comfortable athletic shoes and wear that kiddos can, what we say, run a mile in. Now, are we making kiddos run miles? No, but we do want them to be able to run and play and climb and explore. So we ask that you send closed-toed shoes, athletic of nature, and then attire that's also athletic, that's movable, that kids can climb in, that kids can play and run and hop and jump in, because our kiddos will be doing a lot of that. We pride ourselves on kiddos having an active experience at camp, so we want them to dress according to that. So please, no sandals, no Crocs, no flip-flops. It just allows us to ensure that, one, your camper is comfortable and are able to do all of the activities, but that they're also safe, right? We do want to make sure that kiddos are not being injured because we're running in flip-flops. Maybe we stub our toe. So that's just a safety piece, but it's also a comfortable piece for your kiddo to have the best experience. Lunch. So we do have catered lunch options in all 3 cities. If you would like to take advantage of that, it is in your active registration and you can do so. The details are in your registration, but you could also choose to send your kiddo their lunch that you pack at home. And we do ask that you send a water bottle as well. That's very, very, very important, especially being in Texas, because we are using indoor and outdoor spaces to do things. We're always mindful of the heat. We're always mindful and monitoring the temperatures. We don't send our kiddos out if it's too hot, but we do want to give them opportunities to get outside. We pride ourselves on being like a no tech camp. So your kiddos aren't going to be, um, watching a screen or playing on a tablet. We're going to be playing with each other. We're going to be outside, inside. So sending a water bottle is key for us. Make sure that they're staying hydrated and healthy throughout the camp day. Sunscreen is also super beneficial. It protects their skin, protects them from the elements. Being in Texas, that's very self-explanatory. We want to protect their skin so that they're not coming home burned if they were outside for a little bit. And all of these things, we ask that you send in a backpack or some type of bag that's contained and everything is labeled. If you guys are aware, kiddo stuff piles up. I mean, that's a pretty good list right there for you guys, right? An extra change of clothes is probably also beneficial to have in your camper's backpack in the event of an accident or a spilled lunch or something of those lines. So sending everything labeled in a backpack just ensures that what you sent your camper with, you also get home with. Yeah, I think that kind of goes over what to pack or prep for camp.
Yeah. Thanks, Cheyenne. I want to reiterate the shirt too as well. So at camp, all of our campers are required to wear the official Kidventure shirt. There is a specific shirt for explorers. It's red. Those can be purchased on the registration form. Any purchases prior to the 17th of May will be processed, put together, and hand delivered to you your first day of camp. After the 17th, all of our offices in Houston, Dallas, and Austin will have a store in them. You can drop by the office. You can purchase additional shirts. And we might have some pop-up stores. We're thinking about having pop-up stores from location to location after the summer starts to help with that as well. We'll inform you of those if that takes place. But let me reiterate, all of our campers wear their shirts to camp every day. We do that for two reasons. The number one reason is safety. We want to be able to identify our kids at all moments of the day, whether we're at the facility or we're on a field trip. That is super important to us. The second reason is pride. We're a team. We have a 30-year camp tradition of Kidventure Camp wearing these shirts, and that comes with a lot of pride and tradition. And that is just part of the Kidventure way and something that we do. We certainly price those shirts very affordable. If I were you, I would grab 2 or 3 shirts so that you're not washing too much. And put the name of that put your kid's name on the back of that shirt so that we know whose shirt that is. All right. Thanks for that, Cheyenne.
Yeah,
All right.
of course.
I'm going to turn our attention to communication because this is super important. I think we take a lot of pride in providing customer service for our families. You know, when you call up Kidventure, you're going to get a warm voice that's going to help you out. We want that. We have not gone to AI to take care of our customer service for good reason. We actually like the human experience and feel like we can accomplish way more because of it. So right now, the main form of communications is going to be calling your office or emailing your office, right? That's kind of how we do things, or we email you things. Once the summer begins, we shift, and there's going to be 3 main forms of communication that will help you out understanding everything about camp. The first is the camp app. So if you've not already done so, we have a camp app that can be downloaded for free in Google's Play and then Apple Store. It is called the Kidventure Camp app, okay? The login credentials for that app are the same login credentials for your active registration account where you register for camp, okay? Only one set of credentials, and that's the primary person who has that credentials is going to be allowed into that app, okay? So same email and same username you use for active is what you'll use for the app. Now the app is going to provide you with a few things. One, you have the ability to enable notifications. So we want our parents to do that because it's the quickest way for us to send out messages on inclement weather, on it's crazy sock day tomorrow, don't forget. We're leaving on a field trip tomorrow at 9:30, please don't be late. Those things like that. We don't send marketing emails out in the push notifications or anything like that. Rest assured, if you get something from the notification, it's important for you to know it for your camper. Secondly, we're taking pictures of your campers during the day. We post those, we upload those to the app so that you can actually stay in touch visually. with your kids and see what's going on. We don't do it 24/7. And it might be like lunchtime or maybe the afternoon before we get all those uploaded. But I know from talking to a lot of parents, they very much value the opportunity to see what's going on at camp. Having that app gives you that opportunity. And that's the only way that you'll be able to see pictures of camp is through that app. Okay. You can also register through the app as well. So you have access to register for camp through the app there too. All right. So that's the app. The second form of communication, which I think is important and equally as important, is the camp newsletter. So for every camp session at Kidventure that you sign up for, the Thursday before that Monday you're attending, you're going to be emailed a link to this newsletter. It is mobile ready, and it contains information about that specific week that you're attending. Their itinerary, what's going on, are there any crazy dress-up days? Your customer service rep, which I'll talk about, is front and center on that too as well. What am I missing? There's links to forms like the medical dosage form on there. If we have any waivers that we need signed for a specific field trip, we'll have that linked on there too as well. My advice to parents is as soon as you get that, save it and refer to that. Directions to camper on there, drop off pickup procedures, all the times, everything that you need, 99.9% of it is going to be in that newsletter. Okay. It's well organized, it's clearly visible, and it's interactive with you with regards to links to resources there. Yeah. Lastly, every family at Kidventure is assigned what we call a customer service rep, right? And this is a live body, a warm body, whose job is to focus on making your camp experience on the back end as good as it can be. So if you have questions about billing, if you have questions about camp, if you want to add another week of camp, this is the person that you're going to want to reach out to, right? We don't allow you the opportunity to call up our directors and staff members during the day because they're with your child providing summer camp. That customer service rep will radio over and get a message to that director, and that director can respond to you accordingly. But that's your main conduit, is that customer service rep. Okay, that customer service rep will be on your newsletter. You'll have her contact information there, and they're there once again, like I said, to make your camp experience the best it can be. All right. All right. Did I miss anything? The only other thing is we use whiteboards. At every campsite where you drop off and pick up, there'll be a whiteboard that we write stuff on. If we put the whiteboard out there and we write something on there, read it, take a picture of it, whatever, because chances are it's important. Okay. It's probably a reminder letting you know something, or whatever. So note that as well. Okay. Is that thorough enough?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Those newsletters and the whiteboards that Mike discussed, those have information directly from your director as well. So if your director wants to do something very special for your kiddos, because we pride ourselves on employing quality directors that have great experience and want your camper to have the best time at camp. So they might put in there, hey, we're going to do a popsicle party, or hey, we're going to do a neon lights party, wear white tomorrow. It's important that you be looking out for those different things so that your camper has the best experience and that they're in the loop of what to expect at camp the next day.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Cheyenne. Appreciate that. All right. I think I saved the best for almost last, right? And that's our camp team. And Cheyenne and I, before this live stream, we were talking about staffing and the importance of it. And I will tell you personally, from 30 years of camp experience, and this is seeing thousands and thousands of kids. I think we tried to figure this out the other day. 45,000 kids over 30 years that we've had done camp with. I will tell you, over the course of those 3 decades, the most important part of camp for your camper is their counselor, right? We can have the greatest, most amazing, off the charts activities at camp, right? And that's fun and that's exciting and that's entertaining, but it doesn't hold a candle to the power of the relationship that's created between a camper and a counselor, and a counselor's job in helping foster friendships with other campers within their group. If you ask your camper at the end of the summer what they remember most camp, if we did our job, they're going to tell you their counselor's name. And it's funny, a lot of kids might forget their second grade teacher, their fourth grade teacher. They're going to remember their camp counselor for the rest of their life if that camp counselor has done their job, because that camp counselor is an important part of that experience. And I would wager to say it's probably the most important part of your child's experience from a safety standpoint, from a relational standpoint, from a confidence standpoint. And we take a lot of pride, and we put the most emphasis and energy and resource into our hiring and training process for camp. I mean, it's one of the reasons we started camp in 1994, because we felt like at the time, summer camp counselors tended to be very young. Nothing against 15 and 16-year-old kids. I'm not knocking that at all. But at the time in 94, that was kind of the norm. And we felt like we had a better opportunity to impact the lives of kids and build kids from the inside out with an older, more experienced staff member, which is why we targeted teachers, right? Educators. They have their summers off. Education students, teachers, certified teachers. They're teachers because they want to make a difference in the life of a kid. We simply give them this opportunity in the summertime where they get to let their hair down, be more hands-on, get splatter paint all over themselves and get mud on their face and have a time and rock it for these kids. And that's kind of what we do. And so I want to go over sort of our criteria for our campers so that you have a kind of a better understanding of what that means. Once again, I mentioned before, the majority of our staff are teachers, they're education students, they're coaches or related fields. I've seen social work a lot more, like the last few years too, as well, in interviews. Irregardless, they want to be there for a reason. They're not there to pull a paycheck. They want to make a difference in the life of a kid, right? And I think that's so fundamentally important, all right? So everybody on our staff is an adult, right? What is an adult? Adult is 18 years or over, okay? The majority of those are college students and teachers, like I mentioned before. Everybody is CPR and first aid certified. That is not mandated by the state, okay? In the state of Texas, if you're running camp more than 4 hours, you're supposed to be a licensed, accredited summer camp program. A lot are, some aren't. You need to ask that question. If they are, one of the mandates is that one person on staff has to be CPR and first aid certified. That's great, but we choose to have every single staff member at every single camp first aid and CPR certified and current on that. Everyone goes through a national yearly background check, and those are clean. I mentioned the education majors and teachers. They're all in uniform. Cheyenne is wearing a counselor uniform. The directors are in a blue. They all have a name tag. You clearly know their name. What you don't see on the flip side of that is those counselors have all the names of their kids, if they have any allergies or anything like that, that we need to keep private, but our counselors need to know about. Those are listed there on the back side of that as well, okay? We talked about the ratios again, 1 to 10, no more than that. And most importantly, they love their campers. And they're there because they want to make a difference in their lives. I mean, they truly love summer camp. They live for summer camp, and it shows, right? Anything else about the staff maybe that you feel like I need to touch on?
I don't think so. I think you hit all of the important pieces of safety and community and connection. So I think that's great.
Yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate it. There in that newsletter, you'll also have all of our staff at your campsite, a picture of them and their name on there. So when your daughter comes back and says that my counselor Stephen, you can go to the newsletter, you can look, you can make that connection, look for Stephen out there in the parking lot at drop off or pickup or something like that, maybe say hi, that kind of thing like that. Try to make that connection. We wish we had more opportunities to connect our counselors and our parents. It's difficult for safety reasons. We just can't let people come in and out of the building. But rest assured, your kids are well cared for by them. All right. Couple things before I go into Q&A that I want to touch base on, okay? And one of those is registration. Camp is filling. Some of our camps are full. Some of them have wait lists. Others don't, but are getting close. And I know that after spring break, there's this urgency. If you've not registered for camp, I'm not just trying to get you to sell your own camp right now, but if you're planning on doing it, don't wait any longer, please. We have a great waitlist program that automatically pulls you off a waitlist and gets you into camp, but it's a waitlist, and no one wants to find a waitlist when they want to get their kid into camp. So I'm urging people that right now the demand for camp is drastically increasing, and to register for camp. We have a new program this year. It's called a referral program, and I don't want you to leave money out of your account. Let me explain that. When you register for Kidventure now and you get to checkout, a unique registration URL is created for your family, okay? That unique register URL can be shared with family and friends. When they register for camp through your link, you automatically get $10 in your account per each session they sign up for. So let me explain that. If they sign up for 10 weeks of camp, it'll drop a $100 credit into your camp, which you can use to pay for camp or pay for merchandise. They, in addition, get $100 off, $10 off a week, okay? And I'm trying to educate parents about this, and a lot of them know about it because I've seen it on their account. They're making use of it, but a lot don't. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And I think particularly you, because you get to make money on camp. So please, that registration, your unique registration link is in your confirmation email too as well. So you can pull that, copy that from there, post that on your social, send that to your family and friends, and get them to sign up through that link and not the main link on the thing. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way before we go to Q&A.
Yeah,
And thank you
that's
very
a great
much.
reminder. Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so I am going to turn my attention to a lot of baby comments, by the way, Cheyenne. I think I love that. Okay, here's a great question. Okay, and I'll put this up here. I think I can actually add it to the broadcast here. There we go. I'll move this. I'll slide this up. And it says drop off is at 7:45, but opening ceremonies each day isn't until 8:30. Does that mean I would drop my child off at 8 or 8:15, or are you strict with getting them there by 7:45? Okay. So once again, it varies a little bit by site. Some sites we allow you to drop off at like 7:30 to 8, but camp is going to start at 8 o'clock. Okay. On Mondays, opening ceremonies really don't take place until 8:30, just because it takes a little bit more time to get people into camp and get everybody out of the parking lot. Okay. As camp moves on from Tuesday to Friday, and then each week it'll become more efficient. We're pretty strict about that 8 o'clock. If you got something going on, like a dentist appointment or a tutor or something like that, let us know, and we'll note that in their notes so that we don't expect you or call you or find out where you are, that kind of thing like that. But as a general rule of thumb, we want our kiddos there by 8 o'clock so that we can get cranking with the day. It's nothing like rolling in at 8:30 and all of your kids' friends are already engaged in something and they feel like they just got late to the party. Okay. So do your best. 8 o'clock. There you go. I hope I answered that, Leslie. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question from Rochelle. How do we order shirts? So shirts are a financial option in the registration system. So when you sign up for camp, you have the option to purchase your shirts. Okay. You can go back in there. Okay. If you've already registered and you're like, I don't want to go back in there, then call up Kiera or call up somebody in your office and let them do it over the phone for you. We'll take care of it for you. Okay. But order those shirts. We're fixing to start really trying to educate our parents about those shirts because a lot of people aren't ordering shirts yet. And that just because I don't think they know. We changed the system from last year. We had a third-party thing, Shopify. I did not like it. And so we kept our shirts in the registration process. So go back into your registration account, add those shirts. If you do it by May 17th, those shirts will be packaged up and delivered to your campsite your first day of camp for your child. Okay? After May 17th, you need to come by one of the offices. We'll have a store set up. You can purchase them there. We might have pop-up stores from time to time. I hope that answered that question for you, Rochelle. And it was a wonderful question, by the way. Thank you very much. All right. Question is, I may have missed this, but will this event be saved? Yes, it's going to be saved. I'll put it on Facebook. We're having technical difficulties with Facebook, not Facebook group and not with YouTube when it comes to the streaming between the two. So we'll put it up there, let everybody know that we have that up there. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Another one, what safety measures are taken during field trips? Okay, big question we get for our explorers. A lot of safety measures are taken. Look, we've done field trips for 30 years. We would not do field trips if we didn't feel like the value of that experience didn't bring a lot for our campers. I will tell you that the field trip day is one of the most exciting, anticipated events during the week for our campers, right? Because they get to go on a bus, they get to go with their counselors, they get to go a unique place like the museum, and they get to do unique things, okay? Our kids are in camp shirts. We're in low ratios, 1 to 10. Our kids are orderly. We're walking everywhere. If you watch a Kidventure camp at the museum, you will notice a very well-oiled machine, walking kids, going to the restroom appropriately, coming out of the restroom appropriately, sitting down for the show, getting up from the show, staying together, doing counts, doing everything that we need to do. Our additional managers show up for there. They're helping navigate that system. There's a lot of places we go to, but there's a lot of places we don't go to because we feel like we can't do it in an orderly, organized, safe manner. Okay. Our buses are amazing. They all have seat belts now. And what else can I tell you? And what am I missing, Cheyenne?
Yeah, so something that a lot of our families really enjoy, Mike was mentioning the orderliness of our lines and of our rotating from group to group. A way that we do that is we make sure that there's a counselor at the front of our line and that there's a counselor at the end of our line. We call this sandwiching. Depending on the size of our group, we'll also have counselors scattered between the kiddos. This just makes sure that a camper that was really interested in an exhibit didn't trail behind all of us. They're in front of us, and we've got a counselor leading them where they need to go. Mike also mentioned counting. So every single time that we go on a field trip, when we get on that bus, we count the number of kiddos that we're leaving site with. And then when we arrive at the field trip, we count again. And every single rotation that we do on our field trip, we're counting. That is our best measure quickly and efficiently of ensuring that every camper that we brought is maintained and is with us throughout the entire duration of that field trip. And we make sure that we count before we leave that site at all times so that campers are safe. Another thing that we really try to do is we try to, like Mike mentioned, have kiddos in their shirts. It's super, super, super important that they're in their shirts because not only does it identify the campers in the event that we have groups going to the bathroom or if kids are checking their numbers, we want to know who's a KV kiddo. We want to know that they are with us. And it also helps us to make sure that we're keeping track of our count, which is, again, one of those safety pieces that I think a lot of our parents really appreciate. We're very intentional with it. And it's one of those very, very rigorous and strict training pieces for us that we have all of our staff very well informed of.
A question that sometimes comes up is if I do not want my child to go on a field trip, can they stay at camp? The answer to that question is no. If you choose not to come to the field trip that day, that child will need to stay at home because there's not going to be anybody there to care for that child at camp. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah. There's also been the question, Mike, if I can piggyback that, is if the site that my kiddo attends has an other program, could my kiddo stay with that program? We say no to that as well because those programs are all made for the development of that age group, and we employ those age groups to have the correct number of staff for the correct number of kiddos, right? That low ratio that we pride ourselves on. So if we had kiddos that were staying back and joining other programs, our ratios wouldn't be
Right.
to the necessary numbers that they would need to be. Which then compromises safety, which we don't like to do. We like to make
Yep.
sure that all of our measures are safe and that they're strict so that everyone is involved and everyone is informed of how we're going to do things.
There you go. The other question I sometimes get is, can I go to the field trip? And the answer to that question is yes, you can. You can't ride on the bus with us, but you can show up there and you can meet us there and you can be with us. That's fine. Just let us know that how that happens. Because if I have a strange person who's sort of hanging out around our kids and we don't know who it is, we're going to get in between you and our kids, and we're going to greet you. Yeah. So let us know in that situation so we can make plans for that. Okay. I think that's it on the questions. That was
Yeah.
super easy. I hope that means that we delivered good content. By the way,
Yeah.
I've got a couple more things I want to deal with now. Look. If you have questions after this today, you guys know we are always available for you during regular business hours. All you got to do is pick up the phone or email us. It is absolutely rare or impossible for us not to get back with you that business day, if not right then in that moment of time if we're on the phone with somebody else. So please feel free to reach out to us. We love to talk camp, and we'll spend as much time as you need answering your questions and making you feel comfortable. All right, so we do have a few more of these coming up. We did this one. On April the 17th, we're going to do a live stream specifically about field trips and Kidventure Live. Okay. So we're going to get into the weeds on the field trips. We'll talk a little bit more about the safety, what we do, our buses, how we do field trips, where do we go on field trip schedule, and then KB Live. KB Live is the field trip comes to our site. So for our discoverers primarily, we don't field trip discoverers. Okay, so let me reiterate that. If you have a 3, 4, and 5-year-old, they do not field trip. You couldn't pay me enough money to field trip your 3-year-old. Okay, so they stay on site, but we do bring the field trip to them. And so whether that's the Audubon Society bringing out some animals, and a docent from them, or an astronaut coming to talk to our kids, or the bubble lady here in Austin, which, oh my gosh, she's amazing. I didn't even think that people could do what she does with gigantic bubbles and put kids inside bubbles and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's one of my favorites. So that's going to be all about that one. So note that, please, April the 17th. Let's see. And then I think we have maybe another one coming up. This is one that's really well attended. This is preparing for camp. This is going to be May 1st. This is sort of all the things about, like, how do you get your family and your kid ready to attend camp all the way through drop off, the pickup number, our safety protocol for check-in, check-out. What do they wear? What do they bring? What kind of water bottles do we like? All that good stuff. That one's going to be May 1st. Plan on attending that one. That's a really good one for first-time parents too, as well. And I think that's it so far for those. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. Cheyenne, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You did.
absolutely. I'm so glad I was able to connect with you guys and answer some questions and be a part of this. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job too, by the way.
Thank you.
Can I just and can I just speak on behalf of, like, all of the Kidventure families out there, that this has got to be the cutest baby I think I've ever seen in my life. Um, best of luck. Best of luck with Piper, by the way. Could you give everybody Piper's full name, because I think it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Piper is a name that both of our mothers actually, without knowing the other, loved the name, shared that name with us. So Piper was technically named by her grandparents, her grandmothers. Her middle name is Brielle, which to us is just very important. It means woman of God, which we really loved and thought it would be really purposeful for her. And then her second middle name is actually Koloke. So I am Filipino. My mom was born and raised in Hawaii. All of my family is in Hawaii on my mom's side. And Koloke means rose in Hawaiian. So TJ had an aunt that was very, very special and dear to his heart, which is my husband's name. So we wanted to pay respects to her in a way. So Koloke honors my heritage, my mom, but it also honors TJ's family and his aunt that he loved so much. So, and then our
Thanks for
last name, because she's a part of our family forever, which just fills our hearts with so much joy. She's growing every day, which is so sad. She's getting so big. But it just makes us so happy to know that she's growing and that she's thriving, and can't wait to see what seeds are planted in her little life as she grows up with such a great community of Kidventure. And she's going to have friends and aunts and uncles and a support system that just invests in her. Something that we say here at Kidventure a lot is every child through our every action. And I truly do feel like every kiddo that comes through our doors is met with a warm body, a happy face, a happy presence that's investing in them and planting those seeds through everything we do. So thanks for having me, Mike.
Wow, I'm just going to stop talking, by the way, and let you do all the talking. Thanks so much. I'm so happy for you guys. Thank you very much, and thanks for allowing us to share that with the Kidventure community. Okay.
Of course.
From all of us at Kidventure, thank you all very much for being with us today. This is recorded. We will post it, and all my best to you guys heading into the Easter weekend and the spring. And once again, get registered soon. We would love for you to be a part of what we're doing in our 30th year. Thanks, everybody, and all our
Absolutely.
best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.